Faith is a journey. Faith develops. Faith is shaped by experiences and reflections, internal and exterior. That I'm standing here today is the result of that journeying, and it was by no means a straightforward path. The God I grew up with was very powerful and strong, with ethics that were not to be challenged because they were law. And my task was obedience to God, to my parents, to any authority. The English word obedience originates in Latin and means to listen to. And I listened and did what was wanted. That sounds maybe harsher than it was. I also had fun growing up. But being obedient was my basic pattern of behavior, the role I was given in the system. And I played along. And I grew older and finished high school top of my class. And here's probably the first fork where I could have gone a different direction. Every path was wide open to me. I had considered medicine. I had considered becoming a teacher. I loved math. But in the end, it was my interest for history and religion that made me choose theology, the one subject in German universities that you could enter with even the worst marks on your high school degree. What a waste, my father said. I did it despite his resentment. In Germany, often high school students, college students stay close to their hometowns for college. I could have studied theology there, in my hometown, but again, I took another fork. I moved out, the firstborn in my family and furthest away. And that had a surprising impact. Some might call it growing up, weaning from the parental relationship. But for me, it caused a deep faith crisis. As the relationship to my parents changed, I lost touch with God. The Bible that before was a book of clear guiding rules that I just followed became hollow. God seemed to shout to me from every page, "I command to you." And I asked, why? Why should I? What for? Who are you? And most importantly, where are you in my life? You do nothing but shout at me. You cannot even talk about love without commanding it. But you cannot command love, God. You can ask for love. You can beg for love. You can speak about love. You can share love. But the one thing you cannot do with love is to command it, to force it. The result would not be love. The result would be obedience. And I didn't want to be obedient anymore. With my faith in crisis, I worked my way through college, which takes longer in Germany than here. I wasn't too concerned about my future as I pictured myself going into the research of history, church history. And in my personal life, I learned a lot about myself. I experienced impactful, caring, and supportive friendships. I experienced unconditional love. Again, here I could have taken a different fork. I could have decided to let go, walk the path without church. It's not worth the effort. But something kept me nudging further. Often when I read the Bible, I still heard God speak with a thundering voice, "You shall not." And then I forced myself to take another look. Maybe God could speak differently, with a softer voice. Maybe this word could be translated differently. What were the circumstances that people wrote this? Without being aware, I had been looking for compassion, for forgiveness, for recognition, for love in these texts. And it was hard, self-reflecting, and mind-opening work to be able to find it. After I had finished college, I started applying for church history PhD programs with scholarships. But the month in which I became a mother rejected also my applications. And to be fair, not because of motherhood. That path denied set me on a new path. one that I had categorically rejected prior. Should I become a pastor? Should I apply? Again, this was a journey. There was no single moment of revelation, no I was blind but now I see experience. I could walk this path because there were people who trusted my choice more than I trusted it myself, who guided me and supported me, who asked the right questions. I could walk this path because some good mentors taught me and motivated me, because I experienced a great community in my internship congregation. And my image of God changed and became wider, gentler, compassionate, and loving. God became love. That I'm standing here today is the result of my faith journey. And I read today's gospel passage so differently than I would have 15 years ago. This is my commandment, that you love one another as I have loved you. There is no harshness in these words, no law, no rule. In these last moments with his disciples before his death, Jesus doesn't choose to give them a new set of stone plates with commandments. No, Jesus instead comforts them. All you have to do, and really you are doing it already, but don't forget to keep going, is to love one another. That he names this a commandment seems to make fun of the commandments of old, but knowing that ahead of Jesus is betrayal, denial, death, and crucifixion makes the need for love more real. Peter, Judas, you hear me? Everyone? Listen, love one another as I have loved you. It strikes me too that I read the next verses differently today. No one has greater love than this, to lay down one's life for one's friends. You are my friends if you do what I command you. 15 years ago, I would have been on the lookout for a risky opportunity to prove the greatness of my love to my friends by saving them with my own life, because it's a commandment. Today, I read that Jesus is only talking about his own upcoming death, a sacrifice that he is doing out of love. And if the disciples are able to understand this as an act of love, and if they love as well, their relationship will be altered from servanthood to friendship. The difference between reading, "This is my commandment, that you love one another as I have loved you," as a commandment or an invitation to love does not seem significant. But it is the difference between playing a role, following expectations, and feeling hollow on the one hand, and filling this task with life, creativity, tearing down walls and opening borders on the other hand. Both ways remain challenging. However, only love bears fruit. Amen.